Hi everyone, this is Bob Miksztal. Just doing a quick video on an introduction to the chip guide. This is very basic stuff, but I also wanted to show a little bit about getting a membership with the chip guide and what that can get you. So most folks know that you go to the chip guide. It is the club's main resource for all the online information that we've collected for casinos around the world. The quick background is that this is based on something that Greg Susan, a member who was one of the founders of the club many years ago, started putting together for himself to sort of show off his $1 and riverboat chips. He eventually expanded that. When he passed away a few years ago, his family generously gave the site to the club. And since then, Charles Kaplan and a few other folks, a lot of administrators have really jumped on and collected scans and information, pretty much anything that people wanted to submit to the club, to the chip guide, and they've put it in there and organized it. So again, just want to give you a quick overview. Website chipguide.com. The easiest way of going in and finding things is using the map. If you click on any one of the states, it'll drill into that state and show alphabetically all the casinos that have been organized and had items submitted for them. So in this case, I'm going to click on to Nevada, and you can start scrolling through its alphabetical list of everything that's there. If you want to jump down to a particular casino a little bit quicker, you can just hit the letter. So I'm going to click on S, jumps me to the S's. And in this case, I'm going to take a look for Sam's Town. So you just click on Sam's Town, and the page will come up and it'll show all the information about all the different items that have been submitted for Sam's Town, a little bit of information about the address, whether it's still open, link to their official website if they're still in business. So it's ordered by the general release chips, from fractionals all the way up through whatever the highest denomination is. You can scroll up and down to see pictures of the chips and also descriptions. It does talk about, in addition to the picture, it'll describe all the information that it has about the chip, denomination, when it was issued. Recent issues have exact dates, older issues have approximations, when it was added to the chip guide and when it was last updated, and then basic information that you'd find like in the chip rack or other guides, talking about the color of the chip, what type of mold it is. In this case, it's a short cane variety for the hat and cane mold, what color the inlay is, who submitted it. This is usually, I think, the first person who submitted this chip. And if there's any notes around details, it'll be there. And people are welcome to submit any kind of updates that they want, in terms of corrections or clarifications and things like that. You'll notice these little minuses and occasionally a plus. This will kind of contract and expand each of the sections if you want to jump down or see other types of chips. Again, they're arranged by, they're calling them table chips. So these are the regular releases, but if you're into limited editions, you can jump right to that, again, sorted by denomination. And if you're looking again for anything specific, ticket in, tickets out, any slots, silver strikes, they're all grouped together within the casino. So it's a pretty amazing, frankly, amazing set of information. Right now, it's available to the public. We'll be doing more videos later on about how to use the chip guide with sort of more advanced settings. But again, I just wanted to give you a very basic introduction of how to get into the chip guide, how to find a casino within a state and drill into it. So the next thing I wanted to show you is how to take advantage, if you have a CCA club membership, how to take advantage of a chip guide account and what that gets you. To get the account, you go into member services and go into membership request. And here you're going to have a screen where you're going to fill in your name, your email address. You get to pick a password. You have to give your club number. And if there's any comments, you can put them in there, and then you'll click on submit. Right now it's a manual process, so that'll go off to an inbox, and within a day or two, you'll get an email back saying you've had an account created on the chip guide, and you can go ahead and log on. Since I already have an account, I'm going to go log on right now myself and show you what the result is. Once you log on, you'll get a little message, log on successful. So now I'm going to go back to the chip guide, go to the home page, and I'll take the same path I went into Nevada, S, find Samstown. And now you'll notice something else you didn't see before. 4 little radio buttons, if you will, with different lettering next to each of the chips. At the top of every listing, actually, chips and anything else that's silver strikes or slot cards or anything. So it might be a little difficult to read on my screen, but the four buttons say MC for my collection, WL for want list, TL for trade list, and TT for top 10. I'm not going to talk about top 10 right now, but I will talk about the first 3. The idea is that you can look up chips directly on the chip guide, and as long as you're logged in, you can then add them to one of these 3 lists. So, and adding is as simple as clicking on the button. So right now you'll see that MC, my collection, has this chip listed in green, which means I've already added it to my collection. If you wanted, if let's say I ended up selling it and I no longer have it in my collection, it's as simple as clicking right on the MC. Got to give it a minute. Always kind of look at this status in the upper left to see if it's kind of thinking. And you see in a moment or two, it'll come back. Sometimes it takes a little more than a moment or two, depending on how long the list is, but it'll come back and that button is no longer green, it's red, meaning it's not in my collection anymore. If I were to acquire it again and I did get it, again, I would just click on MC and we'll give it a quick second to refresh. And now that chip is back in my collection. And it's as simple as that, turning it on and off for your collection, your list of chips that you want, the want list, your trader list, if you have a list of chips that you want to maintain as chips that are available for trading or for sale. And you can kind of do this up and down for any chip that you want. So the question is, big deal, you've added them to a list, what can you do with it? How do you see it? So what I'm going to dock through is going through the chip guide query facility. This is under the search menu. I'm going to click on it, and again, kind of keep an eye on the tab. If it's spinning, it means the database is thinking about something. By default, whenever you go into the chip guide query facility, it's presuming that you want to do searches on the entire chip guide database. So it's everything that the club knows about. We'll have other videos that talk about how to use these different fields. It's extraordinarily powerful if you're looking for specific chips or doing research to see kind of how things are. I'm going to focus on using the guide for what I just showed before with the My Collection and the trade list and the want list. When you're logged in and you go to the query facility, there's a box here called list, and by default, again, it's presuming you want to see everything in the chip guide. But if you click on it, it will let you pick what list you want to look through. So I'm going to just go to my collection list, and I'm just going to click on query. We'll give it a minute, and this will come back with all the chips that I've flagged as part of my collection. So it's thinking about it. And by default, unless you change it differently, it's presuming that you want images. You get to choose how many columns of images you have, how many items per page. So in this case, I was just playing around before with my collection, and I've added 2 other 20th century casino chips plus 2 of these Samstown chips. So it's pretty simple just to pick what list you want and have it all kind of spat out. If the list is too long, sometimes you may have to scroll through pages at the bottom, which is fine. The other thing that's very powerful about this is you can take this, the results, and export it out. So on most machines, you should be able to, like on Chrome browser, you can say print, and instead of, I don't have any printers listed on this machine, but you can say Adobe PDF, you can say print. It'll ask you, what do you want to call it? So I'm going to say test. It'll think about it for a minute. On my machine, it actually comes back saying, hey, it's been created. And if you go to, I'm looking at my my downloads folder, I have a test PDF. If I double click on it, now I have a PDF of everything that I saw before. It has all the chips listed out, the pictures and the chip guide numbers, and gives you a little graphic showing you that these are all part of my collection. So I'm going to go back to the chip guide query facility. You can do what I just showed you with all the lists that you maintain. And the rest of these lists, just in case you're curious, the rest of these lists are other lists people have built up and made available, publicly available. You don't have to make anything available publicly if you don't want to, but they've decided to make it publicly available so that you can look through their lists, and for example, I make my collection want and trade list public. Lewis does the same thing, but if you go down to Frank as an example, he keeps his my collection private. Nobody else can see it, but he wants his want list and trade list to be public, so they're listed out here too. In addition, again, just very briefly, in addition to pictures, instead you can have text. And for this list is kind of small, so it doesn't really mean anything. But let me go to my trade list, and I'm going to say instead of images, I want text, and I'll run a query on that. And I have about 1,000 chips or so available on my trade list. I'll take a moment here to generate everything. And because I chose text for the view instead of pictures, it throws everything in a slightly different format. It's actually a very similar format that what the chip rack, the Nevada Casino Guide, has. So it has the name of the casino, and then it lists all the chips that I have below in columns. So this is a much more compact way. If you have lots of chips and you're not that stuck with having to have pictures, if you'd rather have the descriptions, you can put obviously much more on a page. And again, this PDF format, this text format, you can export out into a PDF, or you can send it to a printer if you want to print it out and carry it around with you. That's possible too. So that's it. That's all I have for today. Just again, quick introduction to the chip guide, drilling in and using the membership when you have an account, maintaining your collection, trade list, and want list. Very powerful stuff, and we'll have another video for you soon.